Hey, what's up? This is your friend Pablo, and this is Media Spotlight, the space where we go beyond the screen and break down what really drives the entertainment industry. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and check out the website for more. But if you've been here before, come on, you already know what's coming up. So now, let's get into it.
Dawn Page. She is a trailblazer in entertainment PR with a career spanning Telemundo, NBC, and the Hollywood to Miami scene. She's led marketing for Latino-driven films and shows produced in the US and promoted globally. In this episode, we explore how Latino PR pros, like Dawn, shape cross-cultural storytelling and redefine visibility worldwide.
Hello, this is Media Spotlight, and we're here in the studio with Dawn Page. Hi Dawn, how you doing?
Thank you so much. Very, very grateful for this opportunity and honored to be part of your show.
It's great to have you again here.
Thank
Because
you.
we're ready to record like the conversation
Yes.
a while ago, but it's so good to have you. So I already told the audience your background, what you did, what you're doing right now, all of your experience. You have a lot of things to share us. So if we can start the conversation, can you tell us how you built your career in PR within the entertainment industry?
Well, actually, before I shifted gears into public relations, I started working in news. I worked as a news production assistant, then as an entertainment reporter. I had the opportunity to work as a national correspondent for Telemundo Network, based in Phoenix. And then I went on to work at La Opinión, which is a major Spanish daily newspaper, and I think one of the few left in the States, but it's the major daily newspaper in Los Angeles. So I covered mostly entertainment.
Yeah.
And I also did some news production in Los Angeles as a freelance field producer. I shifted gears into public relations because I needed to make money. Sometimes media is volatile,
Yes.
because if let's say the show doesn't generate ratings, they shut down operations and you're left without a job.
Exactly.
So the reason I started working in PR is because I had worked in media. I knew how to talk to producers, show producers, and reporters, and pitch, because I was a reporter in the past and I was also a producer in the past. So I never took no for an answer, or I was very resourceful. So public relations was kind of like an evolution of doing storytelling, you know. So I worked in PR in Los Angeles. I worked for a union, spearheading national campaigns, promoting worker rights, pro-immigrant initiatives, and also that's where I did a little bit of politics. I worked with California midterm elections. I've done a lot of different
segments, different things,
different topics. So I worked as a PR in LA, and then I went on to work for Telemundo in Miami for 8 years, and I spearheaded campaigns there, national campaigns, to promote primetime series.
That's right.
So it's been an amazing journey, and then I'm back here, and that's how I met you.
We met in the program basically. You were finishing, and I was studying, so it was like when I was in like the thesis class period that you were pitching your idea, I was like, she's talking about entertainment. She's saying something.
We clicked.
We clicked. Yeah, we clicked that day.
We share the same passion.
Because I was like hearing about like different topics about like climate, immigration, like immigration itself, or the borderlands, and I would say, okay, it's good, I like it. But then when I heard entertainment, I was just turn around and say, who's that person? And then you introduce yourself, and that's how we clicked.
I know.
Yeah.
And I remember because when you attended one of these meetings where we were all sharing what we were gonna do. Well, the first meeting, I remember I was the last one to share what was I planning to do. And I was listening to everybody's ideas. Oh, I'm gonna go to the Darien, and then I'm gonna infiltrate myself with the Native Americans. And I was like, climate change. I was like, holy moly. And I'm like, I'm gonna gonna do an interview, a one-on-one interview show featuring Latinos that are successful in mainstream media in Hollywood. And I was the last one, and I felt like, gosh, these people are so like smart or nerdy. No, but you know what? I follow my passion, and I think it was a lot of fun.
So, how does a strong pitch look like today, nowadays? Because I know that it's different from the past and now, especially in such a competitive field that you are.
Well, I think a strong campaign would be the most effective when you're trying to either generate awareness on a product, on an initiative, let's say a political campaign. It's knowing who your target audience is, first of all. You know, is it a younger audience? Is it an older audience? How are you going to get to them? Is it going to be via traditional media, which it includes print, radio, TV, online? And then an effective campaign, what needs to have is the element of social media, that social media component.
Yeah.
Because that's where audiences are right now. They're consuming their entertainment or their news on their mobile devices. So I think any effective campaign nowadays has to, of course, any publicist or an agency, they need to know their client. They need to know the client needs. What is the objective? Who's the target audience? And how are we going to get? Relationships are important as a publicist. I've been developing relationships ever since I started working as a reporter in LA, as a producer. I mean, I worked on the field. Let me tell you, as a publicist, I was friends with everyone. And I kept doing the same thing in every single opportunity I had, if it was working for the union or working as an independent publicist or nationwide. You know, I went on to work national campaigns in key cities. So I've always developed relationships. So I think as a publicist, when you're pitching producers or reporters, building the relationship with the media, it's key to get the message out for your client.
How have PR strategies evolved when targeting bilingual and multicultural audiences? Because I know that you are bilingual, you already work with these campaigns about Latinos, Americans, and you were like trying, like you were like the link there, like you were linking all those audiences and you were like working for those companies. So how have like PR strategies evolved when targeting bilingual,
multicultural or bilingual audiences? Well, you know, let's say if you are a company, make sure that your staff knows that culture, knows that language, or if you wish to hire an outside company, an ad agency or a publicity agency, also that knows if you're pitching, let's say you're trying to reach the African American audience or the Asian or the Latino, how have they evolved? A lot of everything, I think the pandemic accelerated everything. The way we consume news, the way we consume entertainment, and even the way we do publicity or outreach, because everything evolved to virtual. So I think that also having that accessibility of doing a virtual interview rather than doing it in person. So how it has evolved, I guess technology has allowed us to be resourceful and creative in the way we do things and the way we, let's say we coordinate interviews with clients. We don't have to do it in person, or you don't have to go to the studio to do a live interview. We can do it virtually via Skype, via Zoom, or via Teams.
Now, because when I was living in Lima, I saw a lot of interviews that, like, for example, the people from the company in the TV show in my country, they had to travel to LA to interview the actors or the actresses. That was before pandemic. Nowadays, everything is online, and it still works. They still put that on the TV, and I still consume those things, even if it's online. I mean, there is a difference, of course, to do an interview in person like we're doing right now and online. But for the audience, sometimes if you target it really good, or if you just like put everything that works, you don't feel that change sometimes for the audience. But
And I think the technology is key in how everything has evolved, not only in PR communications, but there's a lot of software, like there's distribution engines. If anybody out there, publicists or media communications experts, you use Constant Contact or PR Newswire, Muckrack. These are softwares that now they have an artificial intelligence component that can do your press release for you.
Yeah.
So that is something that oh my gosh, I hope they don't, because as a publicist, they hire you to write a press release to develop the image of an artist or to develop or establish your client, or generate awareness about their specific product. So artificial intelligence has also been, has been a piece for technology and evolving in everything. I hope I answered your question.
No, yes, completely.
I'm going, but I said, ever since I started, let's say, more than a decade ago, it was only traditional. Then of course traditional. Then social media. Now it's artificial intelligence.
And that's part of the evolution. We're not using AI just to do our work. It's not gonna work like that. We need to use it as a tool, and that's how we use it, because it's a tool that can actually help us to do the press releases.
I use ChatGPT to kind of review my emails sometimes. Of course, it's not going to replace, let's say you're writing a press release or a story as a reporter for an online outlet. You need to do those interviews. You need to know the client. But it does help sometimes, if you have to, the grammar, let's say.
The grammar,
The flow.
If you're using the correct words or something,
I think, we will stay behind. If we don't use artificial intelligence, we are going to stay behind. So we need to use them as tools to keep up with everything, with the trends, with the speed.
And be immersed to who are we going to talk. If you're going to interview someone, we can use AI to as a tool to help us. How can we ask some questions? How we can what will be the topic in that case? But at the end, we need to be immersed in order to interview them well.
It's important, I guess, to connect. I like still the human connection. I like to interact with people. I'm a social being. I think that is important. And any interviewer, any news anchor, or any reporter, you need to interview and get that reaction or that bite or that that you need.
That vibe, it makes it beautiful.
And I think with one of your other guests, having the right attitude or and all that comes across. So it's important still to connect. I think the human connection is important for anything.
No, that's true. And talking about the campaigns, in your experience, what makes a campaign truly connect with for example, Latino audiences? Because I know that you were working in other companies, such as you were working in Miami. And you had to report, or you had to work in these companies for the Colombian shows. How do you deal with those things? Because when you make a campaign, how do you feel that you're really connected with that audience?
Okay, well, for example, when I worked for Telemundo Network, our main audience, of course, was Spanish speaking. But we had actors that were bilingual, like Kate del Castillo, or let's say if I worked with a Turkish actor that knew English, I would go beyond Spanish language media coverage, and I would pitch, let's say, the Today Show, or a lot of media in mainstream in LA, because I worked there and I had more contacts, so we would always kick off our campaigns in Los Angeles, and then we'll escalate efforts to, let's say, New York, and then finalize in Miami. Again, I hope I'm answering the question. Can you please repeat the question?
No,
I went to LA.
No, but it's good. I was saying, what makes a campaign truly connect?
Okay, so what a campaign, a successful campaign for you to connect with audiences is, again, knowing who your audience is, the messaging, have a pulse in that community. If it's Latino, if it's African American, if it's Asian, it's a way you communicate. And the messaging that you have on a spot that is showcased on the giant screen or on billboards or. It's really craft the messaging.
That's true.
That can connect with the audiences. How do you connect with audiences? Is have people that reflect, your audience.
Because when we were talking about Latinos, there are different communities inside the Latino community, like Colombians, Mexicans, Cubans, and even people from the ES. They are Latinos as well. We have different. We share something, we have a common the language and maybe the attitudes, the style that we have, but at the end it's there are different audiences at some point. How do you connect with them?
There you go. You need to know the language or the lingo. There's specific words that the Venezuelans use and the Cuban Americans, and yeah, it's a big diversity among Latinos, no?
Yes,
It's,
yeah.
you think it's like here in the West Coast it's more like Mexican, Central American,
But in
then
the
you go to
East,
Miami,
yeah,
you go
it's
to the
another
East,
different thing, yeah.
Cubans rule, Venezuelans, Puerto
Yeah.
Ricans, Colombian. So I mean, yes, we have the same language, hablamos español,
Sí.
¿no? But you need to reach out to them either with their music, with the food,
Yeah.
you know. Es la cultura, es the
Sí,
culture.
es diferente, like
Sí.
the expressions, the words, the kind of like the lifestyle is different from the West Coast and the East Coast. But at the end, we speak Spanish, but we
Spanish.
can get what the other one's
But
saying.
we need to cater specifically to that market. Let's say the Latino market in Miami
Yeah.
is very different to the one that lives in Arizona or in Texas,
Mhm.
where it's mainly Mexican. And also the West Coast in California, Los Angeles, the majority of the Latinos are Mexican.
Mexicans, yeah.
So it is very different because
Yeah.
you have the Caribbeans,
Ajá.
caribeños, ¿no?
Yeah.
y los más mexicanos, los mexicanos
Sí,
y
los-
centroamericanos. Entonces,
Ajá.
yeah, you need to know your audience. So that's you need to know your audience.
Yeah,
you
it's-
need to know their culture, the music, the language, the food.
Mhm,
That's
yeah.
that's how you connect with audiences.
Yeah, when we talk about like markets, like when we talk about like targeting a market, a Latino market, that's another story.
Sí.
If we're talking like about like the
Yeah.
West Coast or el lado este.
Sí, sí,
So,
sí.
so yeah,
So
that's.
that's I think knowing your audience.
So you've been working in LA and in Miami, so you already know both sides.
Both coasts.
Yeah.
I'm a bicoastal publicist, bilingual and bicultural and bicoastal publicist, and also news producer and reporter.
And based on that, can you share a moment when a campaign, like for example, didn't go as planned, and
let me
how
think.
you handled it from a PR perspective or something?
Should I? I mean, I'll probably share. Not that it didn't go well, but it was during the pandemic and it was kind of challenging because. Sorry. Okay, so I could, yes, most definitely, I can share an experience, or not a challenging, but it was also an opportunity to do things different and be very creative. It was during the pandemic. A lot of the productions had stalled, you know, because of
Yeah.
so then networks started to get creative and they got a lot of acquisition. So they got a lot of these Turkish telenovelas culebrones that were a hit. And I had to do a campaign with that. Like, how do you do a campaign and with a Turkish series? But guess what? And it's always apply your charm, and always take chances. And if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
So I started researching the cast. You know, I went to IMDb and I was like, oh my gosh, Aquino Quinoso. He studied in Berkeley, California. He knows English.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I was working for a Spanish network in Miami for Telemundo, and I thought, well, I need to connect with him. So I got a hold of the manager.
Mhm.
The manager was excited because, oh yeah, of course, it was kind of like
Yeah.
everything in the world stopped,
Mhm.
but virtually we kept going
Yeah.
doing our publicity efforts. So I did a full-on campaign with the actor. From Turkey, Istanbul, virtual, and we did a virtual screen, a virtual interactive thing with social media influencers, and I did a virtual press junkets with the actor in English for a Hispanic audience. But I also went beyond, and I went and I did interviews with English outlets, or kind of like the Latine outlets,
Yeah.
you know, like the Me Too networks and all these. Yeah, I think I even did E! Entertainment because he was a well-known Turkish actor. And so it didn't, not that it didn't go well, it went amazing, but I had to think outside the box,
Yeah,
and
there
take
were,
risks,
yeah.
because if I would have, like, my team, they were like, but I was like, no, well, he knows English, I'm gonna do the whole campaign in English.
In English.
And
Okay.
all the reporters, even though most of them were Latinos, and they spoke English, but not as good as their
But
Spanish.
they didn't take that risk to, yeah.
But they're like, hey, hold on. But he was also a very viral actor. So everything that we did with him, it went viral. I mean,
Wow.
it was so. I mean, for entertainment, that was one of the most, not challenging, but I was like, holy moly, what am I gonna do? I need to do a campaign. I need to promote this Turkish series for prime time, and it was the #1 series, and it outperformed a lot of.
That's great.
I mean, consistently outperformed the other Spanish network, but also English networks.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of, perdón. I've had a lot of gratifying experiences in my career as a publicist. and I think there's always challenges,
Yeah.
but you need to kind of pivot, but also have a be optimistic.
Yeah.
I think I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, I know it is, yeah.
And I'm very persistent
I see
too.
it.
So if I get a no, it's like next.
Yeah, but we need to take that risk, because that's what you told me. Like, you did it because you took that risk, and the other reporters didn't do it because they felt that maybe.
No, the other fellow publicists were like, "You're crazy. How are you gonna do?"
But that's the
campaign in
point. You need to be
English?"
crazy sometimes
See?
to get down the fence.
You're
you know?
like in English, yeah, so you never know. Life always presents you adversities, and not only in your profession but in your life, and you just need to move forward and
Yeah.
have an optimistic, I guess, outlook or envision that things are going to go well. Sometimes they
Yeah.
don't, but don't
Don't.
have a great attitude
Yeah.
always towards things.
Yeah, because when you're doing like in a campaign, it's not just as much as you want to plan it. Sometimes it doesn't work, and it's normal. I mean, it usually happens. I'm assuming that it always happens.
I mean, I worked for a union, and I remember once I got a call from a reporter. Miss Page, you've been sued. That was I was younger. I didn't have that much experience.
Oh,
so I
did
was
you
like,
get to?
The union got sued.
Okay.
He was calling from the East Coast. He was in DC and I was in LA. I'm like, what? I've been sued? Can you please? And I was like, of course, I was a reporter in the past.
Yeah.
Can you please send me the documentation you have? So I forwarded to my boss in DC, and they're like, don't say anything. We're gonna get the lawyers. We're gonna elaborate a statement, and you'll verbatim. You'll tell the statement, or you'll share it via email. So. Not everything is perfect. There's always things that are gonna happen.
How old were you?
I was 33.
Okay, you were.
I was 33, but I was okay. That opportunity with the union made me very strong because, I mean, I remember I started the job in Phoenix, and it was supposed to be like a regional job, working Arizona, Nevada, and California, and then I asked for a transfer to Los Angeles because like, if you want a national campaign and national awareness, I need to be in the market where I'm gonna have the national correspondence. And I remember the first 2 weeks of that job, I was doing an event in LA, and I had to have media, English media and Spanish outlets. And I didn't sleep. I mean, I've always been kind of a perfectionist in what I do, even though you think I'm not, because I'm like, woo!
I think,
but sometimes people think like they judge, no, but what they see.
But something is about the personality, and then you have the job, which is a different thing.
But I remember for that campaign, wow. I mean, I remember I had the New York Times there. I had the LA Times. I didn't sleep the night prior. I was preparing the press kits. I was preparing. This is 2006. Yeah, wow.
How do you see Latino representation continuing to influence the business of PR and entertainment? Because we know that here in the US, we have a huge market, a huge industry. I think that is the main one over the world. And entertainment, we have a lot of shows. We have a lot of movies in different languages nowadays, like not only English and Spanish, we have maybe in Korean or Japanese or a lot of languages, which is really good. But how do you see Latino representation nowadays in the business?
There's a lot that needs to be done, and we need to continue pushing. And I'm so happy that you're here because you're the future, and we need to see more Latinos that represent us on screen and also working behind cameras and also making decisions.
Because sometimes nowadays, as I was like talking in the other episode, on camera we can see like some representation nowadays with the movies and shows. I mean, they're not exclusively Latinos, but they have like a background that they were like from Ecuador or from Mexico or from Colombia, which is good. But what about behind cameras? Like that's your point. Like there is a lack of representation behind cameras. Of course, we cannot like see that in the movie or the show, but we can feel it.
You need those writers to be also Latino. You need the editors as well. I mean, but I mean, it's important to have writers who are Latino, and also the people, the executives, the top executives who are making decisions. So who make the decision, who's going to be casted, where are we going to invest our money?
Exactly. Yeah, because there are some movies that they're talking about Latinas, but the whole cast, the whole crew, the whole producers, like the whole people there
No, you need to have the writers that
don't know how to deal with that. Don't know how to like write a story based on like
Yeah.
South America or Central America because they have no idea what to do.
No.
And when you watch the movie or when you watch the show, you feel that doesn't work.
Even the lingo too. You need,
I know.
Yes.
There is like two things. Like sometimes we talk about representation, and sometimes when we watch the movies, we know what representation looks like and what representation doesn't look like.
Like if I see myself represented, yay, great. But also the script of the show or the movie has to be.
Yeah, because there are some movies that people just randomly speak Spanish just because they know that they have a background, but it doesn't make sense because we never seen like that. So
Yeah.
I get your point, and especially in the awards, in the ceremonies.
I'm like, I mean, even like the nominations. I mean, I know. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting Frankenstein, the movie director.
Guillermo del
Guillermo
Toro.
del Toro.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, Netflix. There was a Netflix movie. It had a lot of nominations. It didn't win best actor, which I thought it would, or best movie. I
Yeah.
loved it. I think we've made some progress. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I can mention Alfonso Cuarón, Iñárritu. They're all award winning and more than once. And
Yeah.
in there's various, but there needs to be more. But I mean, I take my hats off to Salma Hayek, to Eva Longoria,
Mhm.
J-Lo, all these iconic Latino stars
Yeah.
that are also, taking down barriers for the next generations to come.
To just wrap up with this conversation, what will you recommend to the audience that want to enter to the PR industry and they're Latinos or they're about to graduate in college or they feel maybe that they are lost in their jobs? What do you recommend
I
them?
think most definitely while you're in college, do an internship.
Mhm.
Make a list. Se vale soñar en grande.
Yeah,
Make
do
a
it.
list. Make a target list of what companies do you want to work. Do you want to work for movie studios, streaming platforms, TV networks?
Mhm.
And then that is there you're practicing to be
Yeah.
a publicist. And then you're gonna apply or pitch yourself to those
Uh-huh.
potential employers. So important while you're in college, do an internship. And the first job, let's say, don't you're there to learn and to establish relationships.
Mhm.
The first impression always is important. So
Yes.
anything that you do in PR, the first impression is always very important. So when you land your first gig or your first job in PR, you're there to learn.
Yes.
And don't feel like, oh, I'm doing copies, I'm doing reports. That's what I went to college for. No, you're going to learn the ropes of the business. If you get a no as a publicist, don't worry. Go to the next opportunity. You have to be very persistent and aim high. And sometimes, companies are volatile.
Yes.
Opportunities come and go. Just keep also investing in yourself, learning new tools, new skills. I mean, I went back to college and I wanted to learn the multimedia because I was afraid of editing.
Yeah.
But now I'm a better multimedia storyteller or digital content creator. So stay up with the trends. Be involved in organizations where you want to work in. If I want to work in the entertainment industry, be a member of the Academy
Yeah.
of Television. Be a member of. There's a lot of organizations like
LALIF,
NALIF,
like
NHMC.
Yeah.
Be part of those. Get involved. That's where you network. That's where you interact with like-minded people. That's where you learn, and that's where you generate opportunities.
everything is possible.
Yep.
You need to have attitude. You need to have like the energy to do it every day.
Yeah.
And if things doesn't work as you plan it, you just need to keep going.
Yeah, you
Move
just
on.
brush it off. I know maybe you lose your strength or whatever, but gain it back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So thank you so much, Don, and I'll see you in the other episode. And we're gonna talk about some things such as the Sundance Festival with other guests that you know.
Nice.
This is Mylen.
Mylen Calienes, of course, she's the
Yeah.
founder of Latino Filmmakers Network. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna interview her in the next episode. So stay tuned and thank you. This was Media Spotlight. Thank you so much. Bye bye.